We are so addicted to things today. Not saying that in the past, before technology, we weren't addicted. We were too. But now we have so many more options now to be addicted to. I remember during my 30-day no social media challenge to myself, I was going outside for morning walks and I wasn't looking at my phone. My phone was in my pocket, but I wasn't looking at my phone. And I observed people around me, and I noticed people around my age, so millennials, um, younger folks, uh, looking at their cell phones while they're walking their dogs. Like, or talking out loud on the phone while they're power walking, things like that. And I noticed a strong distinction between baby boomers and older when I walked around in my neighborhood, where the old people were not on their cell phones. Not at all. They weren't on their cell phones. They're a little friendly, some of them, they're like, oh, hi, they're power walking and all happy and everything because the sun's shining. We're in a sunshine state of Arizona. It is so beautiful here, you guys. Anyway, yeah, I was just like, wow, they're that addicted to their phones. And I'm like, okay, girl, you talk about yourself too. We are just so addicted to everything, it feels like nowadays. So if you're not even into social media, which there are people who are not, they may not be addicted to social media, but maybe they're addicted to video games. Video games can be very addictive. You got to get to the next level. You have to, 100% complete the video game. There's side quests, all these different things. Obviously, you guys can tell I play video games. I always say I am a mild gamer, not a spicy one. I don't play, like crazy. There's the food, right? There's the debate about food addictions and food obsessions and things like that. But that will probably have to be a totally different subject matter. But that is part of that whole distraction kind of group, distracting yourself from whatever your reality is at that current time. We also know the X and the corn, drugs itself, different substances of drugs. Okay, this is going to be a spoiler. If you watch Outlander, this is going to be a spoiler. I'm in season 6, so if you're past that, this is not a spoiler. But I remember with Claire, right? So Claire, if you guys who doesn't watch Outlander, she's one of the main characters. Pretty sure her name's Claire. Anyway, she's a doctor, right? Okay, so she's taking ether. Ether is like, what's it called? Not an anesthetic. How do you say it? Anesthesia. Yes. It's anesthesia she was taking to make herself fall asleep. Okay. So she was addicted to doing this because she was coping with, trauma in her past. And if you don't know about Outlander, it's kind of like time travel. I love time travel kind of stuff. I love it. I love it. Time Traveler's Wife. Amazing. Oh, with Eric Bana. Okay, let me not get off topic here. But anyway, I love time travel based things. Love it. I don't know. What is that one that was Back to the Future? Back in the 80s? Honestly, I don't even know if I watched that, which is kind of crazy since I like future stuff. I might have watched some of it, but I honestly don't remember the plot. I don't remember anything about it. Anyway, so that's an addiction for her, was doing like constantly making herself fall asleep. So, because you can get too much sleep, but obviously with the ether and her basically making herself fall asleep medically for her to cope, that became a dependence for her. So every time she felt triggered or highly like in a trauma state, she would just do this homemade ether thing and then make herself fall asleep. Okay, so we know there's so many different things that we can distract ourselves. The phone is so easy because it feels very normal, because a lot of people, especially millennials and younger, they have their phones attached to them like the hip, and I am very guilty of this. Like, you take it to the bathroom It's just like, why do you take your phone to the bathroom? Like, it's embarrassing things with like taking your phone to the bathroom. It's always attached to you. My headphones are always in, all these different things. You're watching stuff on like YouTube, or you're like looking at things on Instagram. If you have a TikTok, it's similar to that as well. Facebook. A lot of us millennials and older do the Facebook thing. So all these different distractions, and it's distracting you from your current reality. I'm trying to think of other things that are very distracting too. Oh, drama. Drama can be addictive too. TV obviously, but just drama, trying to create drama, trying to be in other people's drama, trying to make your life just so dramatic and just doing all this stuff. Okay, personal story. I had a friend that I feel like she over exaggerated everything in her life, and I don't know why. Because it was to say things and do things that didn't make any sense. And after a while, I realized, oh, I think she's just over dramatizing her life because we talk all the time. And I think she just wanted to have some type of something going on. You know what I mean? So people will do weird things where they'll just create drama, make drama, and it's distraction of their own lives, their own reality. And I feel like we all do that with different things. We usually cannot sit in silence. That is so hard in the 21st century for us to do, which is very unfortunate. And I think it's very unhealthy for us. We always have to be doing something, like always staying busy, right? Because we're in this whole uh, consumerism slash capitalist society. So it's like if you're just sitting there doing nothing, people make you feel, I shouldn't say people make you feel, you make yourself feel like you're useless or you're lazy or whatever because you've been programmed to feel that way, programmed to believe that is the truth. But we know that us humans, we are overstimulating ourselves way, way, way too often. I know for me, especially with the whole Instagram and YouTube thing, for me in particular. So when if you watched my last video, about the small social media creators, I feel like that in itself is somewhat of an obsession, distraction, kind of thing when you're trying to make videos, get people, get engagement, get people to like your stuff, things like that. That's also a form of distraction, and getting other things externally instead of internally. I think a lot of us are guilty of it. It doesn't have to be social media, it could be other things. It could be trying to get validation or approval from people you actually know, like within your life. And it could be people you don't even know, like on the internet. So I think we all have different shortcomings when it comes to distractions. Even books, just regular analog things can be distracting, like reading too many books. Yeah, I know. You're like, books, really? Well, yeah. I mean, it is a form of escape, even if it's like one that's like, okay, this is a self-help book, because we know self-help can also be a distraction within itself. Anytime that you're doing something that is external, that is not something you're listening to your own voice and sitting in silence and trying to figure things out on your own, it's going to be a distraction. There's nothing really wrong with distractions in general. I know throughout this thing I've been talking, it makes it sound like distractions are completely bad, but that's obviously not the case. It's not completely bad. I think we just need to have some type of balance within it. But yes, books can be a distraction, especially even self-help fiction, nonfiction, because you are distracting your mind. Even if you're learning something, you are distracting your mind from where you currently are, because you're within that book, you're engrossed in it. You're either gathering information, or you're going into a fantasy world. Sometimes you might need time to rest. You need time to rest, to absorb what you've learned or what you've experienced and living life. I know that this is very difficult for a lot of us. It really, really is. I liked when I was listening to YouTube, listening to a YouTuber and they talked about music and how there's always rest in music, which is so true. My own experience, I used to play the cello, but only for about a year when I was a senior for my senior project, and I used to be in chorus and things like that. So I know a little bit about music, and it's very much true. Music has rest in it. Literally, there's the symbol for rest in music. So when you're playing something, people who don't maybe aren't medically musically inclined or whatever, yeah, there are rest in pieces of music, right? So you have your, different beats and tempos or whatever, but there's definitely rest in there, right? You're not always playing the whole time. And I feel like now in our society, they want you to play all the time with no rest. Play as in doing things that are distracting, which is not healthy for us in the long run. Okay, I think I hit my point home. Just be aware of being very distracted. And I'm kind of saying this for myself, really. Just being more aware and careful about how much time you do each activity. Obviously, analog is going to be a lot better for us humans in our, bodies. Being constantly on a screen is a lot. Especially a lot of jobs now you have a computer, so going home and being back on a computer is probably not the most ideal to just constantly be on a phone or looking constantly at a screen. Going outside to a park, I mean, at least on this side of the planet, it's more getting towards summer. So it's a perfect time to be going outside more and experiencing nature and not using your headphones. Just like literally walk with no music on, nothing, listening to the birds, it is so beautiful. Like the silence is not really silent. Like you hear so many things, and if you're walking slow, you experience life it's so different, y'all. It's so different. Even if you walk the same path a bunch of times, you go in there again, you're like, oh, I did not notice that particular bush the other day, and I was just here. Like things like that will happen, and it's very interesting. And it's really magical. It is really, really cool. I've been doing this myself at times. I need to get back into it, really. It is such a peace within me. When I go on walks in silence, there's just so much peace. And going out to the grass and grounding, it's such a beautiful thing. Anyway, I hope that you take some time and do some silence today, not constantly being distracted and constantly doing something. You don't have to constantly do things. Just sit with silence. It's uncomfortable, but it gets better. Realizing certain things are distracting you and try to limit them. That can be very, very, very difficult. I know. I'm there and I've been there and I get it. It's hard, but try to do a little bit. Even if it's just a couple of minutes, be like, okay, I'm not doing nothing. I'm just going to lay here. Just going to lay here. No music, nothing. Just nothing. I'm not doing anything. Okay. I will see you guys, or talk to you guys. Maybe not see me, but I'll talk to you guys in the next one. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.